Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Bowles, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky. Yes, indeedy. Oh, my goodness. It is Friday. Can you all believe it? We have reached another Friday in paradise. Oh, my gosh. Hard to believe, but yes, it is. Had a really outstanding weather day today. And this week, there's Matt Plahuta. Matt, we got a phone call from your efforts. Lance, so did you? That's even better. Good tell who from. That she was home. Damn. So you got a fit. There you go. He got a $50 tip. Calls from a flyer. It's see, I told you it was a good day. It's a good day. So there we go. So we're passing flyers out like I told y'all Wednesday. We're going old school. We're going old school on how doing some flyers ourselves, man. We spend a lot of money on advertising and social media and all that stuff, and it's all great.
Yeah.
But
well, I think what it
we're
is,
going old school, man.
you're getting into areas that people have neglected in the marketing sector, and then you stand out a little bit. So you're getting your branding out there with social media, and then you're getting kind of the follow through and the standout with the paper stuff.
Yeah. So I'm anxious to see how it's going. I mean, we hadn't put a ton of them out, but we've put a lot. So we're kind of a little bit ahead of, response, if you will. We'll see how it goes, man. Because we're kind of ahead of ourselves because we're going to talk about flyers. But yeah, man, that's really good to get that first one, man. That first one's the hardest. It's like any of it,
Yeah.
And you get one, then maybe you get two and three, and so move along. So, yeah, that was nice to get a $50 tip.
Yeah.
So makes you feel good, man.
Cool.
And let's talk about that a minute. Matt's gonna hop on from Bam Weather with us too, so he's gonna buzz in here pretty soon. But let's talk about that. We did a yard. It just happens to be Matt with Bam Weathers coming on, and Matt, our operations guy, was they're both Matt. So let's eliminate the confusion. Matt with Bam Weather will be on here in a minute with us. But now I lost my train of thought.
Matt going out there.
You don't have to give stuff away, guys. I mean, this was literally the first mow for this lady, front yard only kind of mow. I think this is a very small yard. We'll call it 3,300 square feet without looking. I mean, it's a small yard, and to give them a $50 tip, I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you feel good. Yeah, the yard was a foot high, literally, and maybe more than a foot. It was high enough yesterday when Katie went out and looked at it with me that I told her not to walk through it. I mean, so
yeah, that'll be on our weekly recap video on YouTube. So
yeah,
clips of that.
So, anyways, it makes you feel good. I remember, when I was out hammering it out in the field like that and busting your butt all the time, and somebody give you a tip like that, man, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So absolutely makes you feel good. And the other side of that, I know we're bouncing in and out again.
Yeah.
So
that's just the way that it's going to be probably until they get that whole fix right.
They're working on the internet, not ours specifically, but ours is affected literally right here by us. So sorry about that, guys. Just God, if it's too bad,
we could probably put it on your phone if we wanted to.
Yeah,
connect to your phone or mine. I can do mine real quick if you want to.
You want to do that? Let's do that. Let's switch it up.
It might throw us off for a second, but we'll keep this going.
Yeah,
just to have. This
we'll let Daniel do his magic, and I'll keep going while he's switching internet. And in the meantime, we'll roll around and
check the
and get her done
on my computer. The Wi-Fi bar. Click the Wi-Fi button.
I got you right here. All right, Wi-Fi Daniel's iPhone.
That's it. It should connect. It might be a little more stable
It's yeah.
once it
There it
does.
says we're connected.
Yep.
So
So we should be good.
we should be good. Damn, that was pretty easy. So yeah. Hey, Mike, or anybody listening to us, Stephen, good morning. Yay. Let us know we switched our Wi-Fi
Yeah, it might take a few
option. It's going to
15, 20
take
seconds
gonna
before it's a kick in, but on
yeah
turf's up. But
yeah. So we did switch that Wi-Fi connection, so we should be good now. So yay. Let us know. Somebody let us know in about 15, 20 seconds if we're coming through loud and clear. But Daniel says Daniel's new, Caitlin's old.
oh, that's something different. You're
Is
good on
that
that.
okay? We're good on that. All right. So absolutely. So yay. I think we might be good.
I think we're back on.
We're waiting. Hey Katie, would you
No,
click
I'm
us?
listening.
Oh, Daniel's got us on. Okay. All right. So Daniel's being production and host today, co-host. So appreciate that. I appreciate the text from you guys, Craig. Glad to have you with us, buddy. Um, Craig said they're playing catch up. Yikes! Yay! Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Craig said they're playing catch up in Charlotte. 6 inches of rain Tuesday and Wednesday this week, so they're way behind.
Wow.
Do what you can do, man. That's all you can do, right? I mean, that's just it. We're going to actually talk a little bit about that scenario, not just the rain scenario, but another thing we're going to talk about today. So it's interesting. I didn't realize you got hit with that kind of rain over there. Dang. We have to ask Matt when he hops on here about that. He was going to talk about, obviously regional weather with us. So
We got some heavy rain last night.
where you did
Or evening. Yeah.
at your house?
Yeah. It rained hard.
Are you kidding me?
No, it was good. Coming in hard.
It did not rain at my house.
That's
And
crazy.
you all by air, we're
A mile away or
a
something.
mile apart by air.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really close. Daniel's in one subdivision, and there's an interstate and a state road, and then his subdivision. You know, wow.
Yeah.
What time? Like
Uh,
early evening, or was it an overnight?
no, it was still light outside, so maybe 6:30 to 7-ish time frame when it rained.
It's crazy. When I came to work today, I noticed some puddles right as you come over the railroad tracks.
Hmm.
I'm getting ready to sneeze. Excuse me, y'all.
Yeah, I went outside, or I saw it was raining, and then actually I had put my tux on. It got delivered, so I was trying it on and everything. And then I was didn't have my shoes, and I was like, well, I guess they haven't been delivered yet because I didn't get notification, but they were sitting out there. So luckily they had,
Oh my
good package on
God.
them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So
Mike says they're finally beginning to dry out a little bit down there where he's at. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. That's what I'm interested in hearing from Matt today too. He said he's going to hop on here about 10:10 with us or right in that ballpark. But it's kind of what we're looking for too, Mike. I mean, but our grass is green right now, I'll tell you that right here. I mean, we but cool, man. How's everybody's week going? That's really it. Hope your week's going great. We've had a good one here at WLS. Our phone has started ringing a little bit more. That's a good thing. And last few days, because we were talking about that being down, and that's actually why we started doing a little bit of our own old school marketing and advertising. There we go. There's Matt right there. Ta-da. Let's see. Let's do that. We'll do that, and we get Matt there. And Matt, how you doing, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. How about yourself, sir?
Good, I think. Hey, man, we're doing good. I think we're looking down on grass. So, what do you think? Oh gosh, I got a buddy that says that all the time. When I say, "Man, how you doing?" He says, "Good, I think." So,
Okay, well,
there you go. So,
uh,
Hey, I appreciate you calling in with us, and everybody's waiting with bated breath. I mean, we've been talking about you hopping on here for a few minutes, and we're looking forward to it, and looking forward to what you got to say. What on social media, I've been noticing a lot of these guys talking about hurricanes, right?
Yep.
And whatnot, and 10 days out or 14 days out or whatever that may look like. But what do you have? What are you BAM guys saying about this? Is it hurricane season because it's supposed to be hurricane season?
Well, it's definitely, I think I kind of discussed this last time
Yeah, we
on
did a
phone.
little bit, but I'm
We're,
just curious.
yeah, I mean, we're just climatology. We're getting into that peak time of the year, mid
Okay.
late August through September. That's kind of the time for hurricanes, right? And the overall atmospheric pattern kind of lining up. All signs are hinting at that. You look at the modeling, and I would say pretty really good indications of hurricanes starting to ramp up here.
All
So
right.
should be dealing with at least some hurricane threats getting into kind of the August 15th through the 22nd time frame. That's the time frame we really need to watch. Now last time we kind of discussed, I thought, the better threat would be more to the Gulf. But things have not trended in that direction. Just it's when you're trying to forecast the track of a hurricane, it's just going to depend on where certain features line up in the atmosphere, and those have shifted enough where right now I'm more concerned, kind of more of a, let's call it a southeast eastern seaboard U.S. threat of main concern there. When you look at the modeling as a whole, so when we look at models this far out for hurricanes, there's an assortment of models you can look at. Typically, we look at something called the ensembles, which is just a group of models.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And so we sometimes you may, if or any of your listeners hear ensembles or you watch our long range videos, we actually have one we just put out for free on social media, I believe. That's going to give you kind of a range of outcomes that can occur. The core, I would say the overall consensus really likes to have this upcoming hurricane hang off just off the east coast of the U.S. But I would say if you're in Florida and then coastal Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, maybe
We've
as
got
far
quite a few listeners right in that everything you just said, man.
okay.
All right.
Well, for those folks at this point, I would say you just need to continue to monitor the forecast. There's no way I can give
Okay.
the exact specifics at this distance. Although, again, the better consensus as it stands now says it stays just off the east coast of the U.S. But we just need to watch it closely.
All right. Well, cool. I appreciate you addressing that because the only weather I listen to is BAM weather for real.
Sure.
And but it seems like every time I get on my social media page now, it's like I'm getting all these feeds from these, and I'm like, I'm just going to ask Matt about that, man.
You'll get into those traps.
We need to put the plywood up yet.
Yeah, some people they'll post things for hype. Sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not, and it's hard to, if you're a non-meteorologist, how the heck do you even, determine what's right and what's wrong. One thing I will say at this distance is like individual models at this distance for hurricanes are going to be wrong. They're going to be very wrong. In particular, the American data at a distance.
Is there one that you all like or you like particularly more than the others? Like the European or this or that or.
So, to answer your question, I guess bluntly, no.
Okay.
Each model, again, there's quite a few to choose from. Will have its advantages and disadvantages at times based off the pattern. You have to assess the pattern and find out which model, best reflects, in your opinion, what the pattern holds. I would say a lot of times the European probably does a little bit better than like the American data.
Okay.
I would say more times than not, but that is certainly not the case, especially in these kind of this kind of outside of the hurricanes, this pattern we've been in. So folks further, more into the heartland of the U.S., the around us, and then up into the Dakotas and Central Plains. This pattern we get in where it's pop ups and it's these storm clusters, right?
Okay.
Mostly the European model doesn't particularly do very good with those. Actually, the American data has a leg up, but I often find a lot of times, like especially during winter, usually, not always, but usually the European model has a little bit of a heads up with that. But it just depends. Depends on the system, depends on the pattern, which model is better than the other. But definitely watching the tropics. That is 100% going to be a concern, and probably will, even beyond mid to late August, there probably will be some more threats that continue.
Okay. So keep my eyes open, and for all of our listeners, keep their eyes open, but watch out for some of the hype. The 15
20 seconds. I think it's warranted. It could even, wouldn't be shocked if there's even a strong hurricane out of this. We'll see how things evolve.
I got you.
But
and that's predominantly that East Coast.
Yeah, I would say East Coast. I would say Florida as a whole would need to watch as well. I would say generally areas east of the Panhandle. That could be West Coast, East Coast, Southern Florida. But again, the better consensus, I would say, at this point would be probably north and east of Florida. But they're definitely not out of the possibilities there. So we'll continue to watch it.
I hear you. We got a question from somebody here. It says, do the hurricanes, if they happen, increase chances of rain in the lower southeast states as well? This guy particularly is in Georgia.
So that is a fantastic question. And in fact, at Bam Weather
he had the same question Mike had.
Okay, perfect. So hurricanes are a huge factor for precipitation. Obviously, where they track, they will bring in lots of rain, right? On the flip side of that, if you're just kind of removed, just to the west and northwest of where the hurricane tracks, what happens is that hurricane draws in so much moisture, unbelievable amounts of moisture. It actually creates things that are very dry just to the north and to the west of where the hurricanes track. And so for those guys in Georgia, it's going to depend on entirely where this tracks.
Okay.
If it makes more of a Florida landfall or obviously a Georgia landfall, that's significantly going to up the rainfall chances, whether that's a direct impact where the hurricane tracks or the bands kind of on the outside that swirl around the hurricane. But given the consensus loves it to hang kind of just off the East Coast of the U.S., I would say there's a little bit of a drier risk for him in that time frame. Again, if the more of the westerly solutions pan out, it does make more of a landfall towards, say, Florida, Georgia. He'd be in a good spot for rain. But the further east that goes, that to me signifies a little bit more of a drier stretch.
A drier stretch.
Drier potential versus wetter potential. Again, pending the track below. But for us here, that's probably going to, in turn, again, pending how that hurricane evolves, probably should lead to a drier stretch, I would say, here in the Ohio Valley, because that hurricane is going to rob a lot of moisture here. And that's very, very typical to get into not only a drier stretch, but a warmer stretch because of the hurricane. So,
well, I mean, I hate that anybody's got to. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that. I hate that anybody's going to have to experience that. But for us, that'll help us a little bit with some dry, hot weather. Because, like I told you the other day, our grass is green. How is it up here all's way? I mean, you're not too far from us. Are y'all still seeing really green grass for this time of the year?
Well, we've gotten lucky, at least where I live. Uh, we've gotten lucky and gotten hit with a few storms over the past week or so. So right now the grass is green, but there was a time there it was getting pretty crunchy
Was it?
for a time. But the rains around us have not been equal opportunity. I know the storm coverage has been a little bit higher down there towards the Ohio River where you're at.
Yeah.
Um, so it makes sense why the grass is green, so to speak.
Right.
But it's it's very hit or miss here. It's folks who've gotten rains around here the last couple of days have been, I'd say, more lucky.
Okay.
There's some
Them
sporadic
widespread.
dryness. Yeah, and the over the next couple of days, to be honest, Wayne, probably through I would say Wednesday, especially for you, probably mostly dry. Um, there's very, very isolated chances, I'd say, today through Monday for you. But if it were me, I would operate like I would be dry. Chances pick up a little bit more
Okay.
Tuesday and especially Wednesday for you. But that'll be the general theme getting into next week for those folks in the Ohio Valley. Um, Chances will steadily pick up getting into kind of the middle part of next week. There'll be a slow moving front that drives through the area. But even then, I'm I'm concerned it's not like a line of storms or anything like that. It's
So should
the
we
scatter.
workload? Should this region of the country right through here, and say maybe St. Louis area too, and should we do a heavy workload early on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, or you think even though we got a front moving through, it's going to be more scattered? I won't hold you to it because y'all keep us
Yeah,
so updated anyway. You know.
if it were me personally, I would try to probably up the workload Monday,
Okay.
Tuesday. Wednesday can get a little dicey, I'd say, to a degree. Thursday as well. So I would try to get I guess the what you need to get done Monday and Tuesday.
Get it early.
Uh,
The promised work.
Wednesday could be
Hey, we're
problematic. Yep.
the promised child work. See, that's what I love about you guys, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't get that good input from anybody else. So you guys that want input like this to help run your business and get a return on investment, bamwx.com.
Absolutely.
Do it.
And I always try to, whether it's you or anyone, there's always going to be that risk and uncertainty to the forecast.
Yeah. And I don't want
We
to
have
paint
to
you
realize
too blue
guys,
either. I don't want to do that. So let me
right.
take care of that for you, Matt, right now. I don't want to say these guys are perfect because I'm not,
Sure.
and they're not. None of
Not,
us are. But
but
they're pretty daggone good at what they do. Let's put it that way.
we realize, you and other folks, you're trying to make a decision, right? And so at the end of the day, we have to give you that actionable information, what we think will happen and what we think would be the best course of action that would
I'm
be
not
best
sure
for
what
you.
side of the fence I like being on, our side or your side. I mean, I would hate to think I've got the responsibility of telling all these companies, yeah, go or don't go and then jack it up.
We just,
For us, we're making a one company decision. You guys are making, hundreds of companies decisions for them,
we,
So,
we just, we got to do our best and, you know,
yeah,
that's all we can do, just do our best. And when we're wrong, just treat it as a learning opportunity and
yeah,
just get better.
yeah.
That's what we strive to do.
Good deal.
So,
So, what you got fun going on this weekend?
well,
Doing anything good? The family?
I'm going out on a date tonight with my wife at a Italian place locally. That's kind of hard to get into, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Good deal.
And then there's a
So
bit
you
of
got a babysitter arranged?
we got a babysitter arranged, yes, sir.
Uh-oh. Watch out. Watch out.
And then we've got there's a beer festival in Franklin tomorrow, and Franklin, Indiana. I'll be going to that and trying a few
Yeah. Hey,
beers out.
that's all right.
So
Hey,
that'll be
do a few exercises. Daniel here, he would appreciate that. A few
Absolutely.
12-ounce curls. Isn't that what y'all call them? Yeah, 12-ounce curls.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. That's my workout.
That's the workout. But
Somebody's got to do it.
that's right. That's right. Well, hey, I appreciate you hopping on with us, Matt, and I really am glad to hear that you got a date night with your wife, man. Don't ever forget that. Coming from a guy that was married almost 39 years,
Yep. Appreciate that.
hey, don't ever forget date night. And I'll be the first one to tell you, and Jane would have too. That was my wife who passed away. That it's easy when you start having kids, one or two or whatever, whatever it is. Sometimes it's easy to get sidetracked from date night, man. So, keep yourself on date night,
Yeah.
even if that means getting in the daggone car and riding around the block together, or riding up and getting a drink or ice cream cone or whatever the hell it is, don't forget about each other, buddy. And I'm not trying to be a marriage counselor, but hey,
No,
it's
good advice for sure. And it definitely has been since we had our first kid.
it's a little different when you got to worry about
Yeah.
10 more fingers and 10 more toes going everywhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But hey, have a great weekend. Enjoy the beer fest. And as always, man, I appreciate everything you and Matt and Michael and, Brett and God, the whole crew, man. I know y'all got a whole bunch, but appreciate everything y'all do to help us run our business more efficiently at BAM Weather.
Well, we appreciate you and your support as always as well. So
good deal. Have a great one.
Yep. See you, Wayne. Have a good one.
Thank you. All right. That was Matt with BAM Weather. Reach out, bamwx.com. We'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Speaking of Aaron Walls, I think his debut is tonight, isn't it, Daniel? Or is it tomorrow?
I think it's
tonight.
I
think it's
so.
tonight.
Yeah, I guess they're coming out tonight. Hot dogs for dinner.
Hot dogs for dinner. So not just any hot dog. He's got a Wagyu hot dog.
Wale dog.
A Wale dog. So I want to wish Aaron great success and great luck tonight as he launches his new endeavor, his new diversification of service. And that is certainly thinking outside the box.
Yeah, thinking outside the bun.
Outside the bun. Yeah, true that. That's a really good point. And he was talking about yesterday on his show, coming up with some type of specialty seasonal hot dog as well.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty good idea too.
Yeah. I texted a few came to my head. The dogs that Carla Rogers does, the zombie dogs.
For Halloween.
Maybe like a pumpkin dog, do something with that. Do like a Christmas dog,
Do
a Cinco de Mayo dog.
Yeah, just
so many
bring it on. Yeah,
so many ways to be unique and creative that it just sounds like a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what he had me doing, Joe. No joking aside, and you probably know what I'm going to say. Last night,
Googling hot dog carts.
I was Googling hot dog carts.
He's got Mike doing it. He's got you doing it.
I think I don't know.
I don't know about
a hot dog cart. Would be such a small investment.
Yeah, but there's so much that's involved in it.
You could do it when you want to do it. It could be, hey, man, I need $1,000. I'm going to go out and sell some hot dogs.
Yeah, but as Aaron has learned and listening to his show, there's so much more than that.
Yeah. There is
permits, and you got to set up the dates. You got to make sure the food is, whatever, and the inspectors come out, and it sounds fun, but it also just sounds like a lot to think about too. But
Mike said Aaron is such an inspiration.
I think what you should do is work with Aaron on his. You could be like, you could be a partner. You could be like a. Or he could franchise you a cart. You could be part of the Wally Dog experience.
We could be his first Wally Dog. Yeah, we'll be the first franchisee.
And he does all the back end stuff.
Ooh, Mike, scoot over.
And no, Mike's got his.
No, not Mike. Not that Mike. Mike. our buddy
Oh,
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, our
Well,
but
but Mike can definitely be the Southern Kentucky.
yeah, but Mike Murphy could be the Southern Kentucky connection.
Yeah.
And
This is already a statewide
yeah,
phenomenon.
Aaron, look what you have done. God, this
He's
is
built an empire without selling his first dog.
yeah.
He's done.
You know, the only thing, none of this conversation goes to the bank, man, until it's implemented. And um, what's after implementation? You got to implement it. You think about it. You talk about it. You do it, and then you cash the check.
There
So
you go.
I can't think of the proper verbiage now, but anyway. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really was for the fun of it looking at carts. So I mean, not that probably really going to do anything, but Mike said Aaron's done what a lot of people are scared to do, and that's we talk about that here on Turfs Up all the time and Profit Time, and it's like you, Daniel. People talk a good game about wanting to work out or setting up a schedule, but they got a zillion reasons why they didn't do it. But Aaron went ahead and did it.
That's one thing you can say about Aaron is he pulls the trigger. He does the thing.
And he acts like he doesn't pay attention and do his due diligence, but he really does.
Yeah.
He really does. And Mike said, yeah, he actually did it twice. Caps, mega shout out to my boy Aaron, Mike said. So, damn, sounds like they might be dating. They give him a lot of kudos.
Yeah.
Mike, you go.
Bromance.
What is it?
Bromance.
Oh, Katie said it's a bromance. Okay. All right. But no, that is cool. And you're 100% right, Mike. He is an inspiration to everybody for sure, based on, just the whole scenario from going from what he was doing, factory work, to a little bit of mowing, to making the jump to do more mowing and live on it, and then making the jump into landscape lighting, holiday lighting, now hot dog cart,
snow and ice.
Yeah. So, man, he's a great inspiration to each and every one of us here on Turfs Up, to say the least. So, keep up the good work, Aaron. That's all I got to say, man. We all love you and we all appreciate what you're doing. And
what's great about I've read an article today, and it was talking about this guy who he got fired from his job. He was an architect, and he started some sort of business and whatever, and he was doing okay, but he was working a lot, really the grind mentality, and he wasn't really getting out what he wanted, and he realized that what he had to do to succeed, or what he tried as an experiment, I guess you could say, to see if it worked and it's what you talk about a lot, is finding the right people to do what they do best. And in a sense, that's what Aaron's doing, from getting the right, food vendor. He's not worrying about, I got to do this to make my own food and do this with the food. And, all the things that we talk about is like, let a CPA do your books. They know the laws. They can save you them and do the best on that side. Let a, truck person do your trucks. Don't spend 4 hours a day on your truck and your mowers, do the things that you can do, but let somebody do what they do well for you in your business, so you have time to do what you do well and make the most out of that. So they had a really great analogy for like Facebook ads, was one of their examples. Like, hey, you can spend, and then this was just the numbers they use, 60 hours trying to master Facebook ads, right? Let's say your what is it called? Your value is $100 an hour. Okay. So that's $6,000 you've basically wasted trying to get good at something that you could have hired somebody for $3,000 to do. So you save $3,000, and in those additional 60 hours you would have spent doing that.
Well, it's kind of like what Katie does. You're an analogy, exactly.
Put your better knowledge at work to make those $200 an hour instead of wasting $6,000 an hour. Yeah. So it's just really about understanding what you do best and figuring out what other people can do for you to help you.
Yeah, because money saved is really not money saved. We think a lot of times, well, I'm not paying somebody to do it, I can do it. But yes, you can. But to Daniel's exact point is, what's it costing you not taking those same hours
Yeah.
and doing what you do so you can make some money. Then you can afford to pay somebody to do what they do well.
And not just afford to do it, but make money off of them doing it.
Yes.
You know, it's known as opportunity cost. What are you really giving up by doing the thing that you're doing? And you can apply that to anything, but not just business, but anything. But I think that that's a great thing that he's doing, not just in his hot dog cart, but even at the beginning, listening to Turfs Up Radio and taking what other people did well. Even though he's implementing it, he's still utilizing their knowledge and the knowledge of people here on Turfs Up Radio like yourself, and putting that within his business instead of going out and spending 2, 3, 4, 5 years learning the hard way.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. Let us know how it goes. I know you got a million things on your mind about, your grand opening and that whole thing. I think, I can't remember exactly what he said. I think he said his goal was 100 hot dogs.
It's pretty good, I'd say.
So, I don't know. At least he's got a target,
Yeah.
And that's it. But and like Mike was talking on his show the other day with him, that's part of understanding the cost is to know the target.
Yeah.
Hey, what do we need to sell them for? So, and then obviously to what they're going for around. So, but
which
anyway,
I think he's kind of got a pulse on that.
He's got a good pulse on that and finding out what that's going to be like. So that'll be interesting. So let us know, Aaron. Let us know, buddy, how it goes for you, because we certainly are interested in that. So, hey, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. We had a really nice voicemail that I'm going to play for you guys this morning when we came in. You got to hear all the bad stuff, right? You got to hear, this happened, that happened, and customer issues. And, we all deal with that, right? I get it. You get it. We all get it. It doesn't matter if you got one account or a million of them or anything in between. You get different feedback. And, we talk about, y'all have heard me say it a lot about customers being temporary stops. And they really are. Customers are temporary stops. But, sometimes they stay a long time and sometimes they stay a very short time. But it's up to us to try to keep them around as long as we can with, efficiencies and service and communication and all those things. But here's a gentleman that called us back yesterday afternoon, and I'll just let you listen to it. Made us all feel good this morning.
Previously, and was fairly happy with it. I switched over to another service to save some dollars, and apparently you get what you pay for sometimes. I would like to resume service with you and perhaps schedule some power seating in the fall. Please call me back.
And that just, y'all saw it was basic and simple. But there you go. That, we talk about retargeting all the time, and that's why we retarget our customers that have left us. Now, there's some that we obviously take off our retargeting list, right? If there was a bad breakup, if you will, we do. But it makes you feel good to know that some people do realize that, hey, you know what? I got rid of you. Thought I could get it done cheaper, and maybe I can't, and that was very real. And I think what I want to take away and the only reason I share that with you guys is don't give up on knowing what the right price needs to be for you. Don't give up on that. Know what your costs are, know what your desired profit margin is, and bid the job accordingly. Because when he decided to leave for less money, okay, a lot of companies would have said, hey, what's it going to take to keep your business? And sometimes that's appropriate. I'm trying to think of the best way of saying that because I really didn't think about it this side of my show. But when the only issue is the money that's being charged. I think it's a slap in the face of the customer when you say, okay, we were charging you $80. We'll do it for 70 to keep your business.
I agree. As a consumer, I see that as very manipulative, kind of like I'm only going to treat the customers that complain the best.
Yeah. So put some effort into, hey, you've lost an account or two. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate you saying that. um, I do. I appreciate that. Mike sent us a nice little text. He said, let's go. That message got me pumped. I don't know if he's serious or not, but it did me this morning. It was like, yeah, it makes you feel good that you're doing the right thing. Oh, and he asked, he's actually traveling this week. Mike said, what's the update on the customer with 30 years of experience and now asking about pricing? I'll let you know next week. He's actually traveling this week, and he's going to reach out to me next week. We'll see how that works out. He's talking about Steve. So we'll see how that is. And let's see. Fred, appreciate your input. He said, I had an old mentor who used to tell me, if $10 is going to screw you up, you're screwed already. And that's true that, my friend. So, but yeah, that's it. I just, yeah, Mike, maybe I'll do that. Mike said, just play that message for him next week. Well, that's and that's going to be part of my conversation too. I mean, we've been working with each other for so long that it really got to the point. He never asked, and we never told. We just did what he wanted done. And same thing with him, because we had some trade going on with him too. Um, and we never questioned anything. So sometimes you just need to, just maybe make a reconnect. So we'll be all right. And if we're not, we'll still be all right, but we'll see.
I think
see how it goes.
I think when you go into something like that, potentially, especially when you do have that personal relationship that's more than business, right? Like after 30 years, doesn't matter if you try to keep your customers as customers and be professional. There's some level of, personalization that falls somewhere in there. But I think just asking like, hey, what, is there anything else? What started this line of thinking? Where is it something that we did that you're just maybe not, didn't tell us at first, or really what is it? What sparked this thing? And
what brought this up? And in this situation, I think I know what sparked it. Was his daughter.
Yeah.
When she found the $30 mow guy and we had the
Right.
job at 60.
Yeah.
For
sure.
That's what, and probably it didn't spark it then, maybe. Hell, maybe it was sitting around the pool this year, and they're just sitting there talking about it, because we still spray her yard, right, Katie? I can't think of her name now. Steve's daughter, the one we were mowing and spraying, and Lopez came in at $30 to mow it. And
I can't remember who that would be name wise.
but anyway, I think we still spray her yard. She just said, "Hey, I want y'all to spray it, but I'm gonna have them mow it." And I mean, we can't go from 65 to 35.
Yeah. But
I mean, it's not happening. I'm not putting a truck in front of anything for $35.
Right. I think
I ain't
too,
doing it.
eventually,
Do it.
I think eventually though, and this was a crazy case where it happened very quickly from, at 6 of last year. So what, around October-ish? I
Yeah.
guess it really hadn't. It's been almost a year, so maybe not that quick. But this customer that we had gotten back now, or hopefully we'll be getting back, figured that out quick, learned that lesson quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they know that in general, but learned it within this specific industry very quickly. And maybe this, this one that we're talking about now takes longer, because in this case, maybe the person that took over the mowing and may take over the mowing for him as well, or whatever, does show up for the first year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, who knows how long, but eventually we just know that when you aren't charging a correct rate, the floor falls out, right? Like
It's just a matter of time.
something happens to
Yeah.
where that 4% profit margin or whatever that is not going to be sustainable. Your truck breaks down, your whatever does this, and now all of a sudden all that's gone, and you're like, okay, well, we can't do business anymore.
Yeah.
And then they don't show up, and but they don't call and tell you they're not showing up. So your grass gets to 24 inches tall, and then they remember why they hired you back in the day in the first place.
But yeah,
I think everybody goes through that, but it's just a matter of, like you said, too, retargeting, staying connected with these people who you don't have a negative ending with. So when that does happen, you're the first person that they
think of. That's why it's so important to keep your name in front of those customers that have canceled if you want them back.
Yeah.
You know, there's some you don't want back, there's some you don't want back. But, you know, the reality of it is, so when they leave for cost, and that's a thing, you know, and they come back at current pricing too. I mean, that's
Right.
just it too.
And I don't think there's any hard
You know?
feelings there. I don't think you have to like point that out to them. Hey, you know, glad to have you back, but you're coming back at current pricing. I mean, I personally don't think you point that out.
No,
I think if they ask,
no.
oh man, well, you know, man, I can't believe we can't get back or whatever, then you may have that conversation, but I don't think you bring it up.
Yeah, you don't bring it up. You're exactly
Yeah.
right. We just, you know, in his case, hey, you know, what's it going to be? We'll look at square footage and,
Yeah.
hey, here's our current pricing on it.
And when you do get fired, because especially in the mowing case scenario, somebody can do it for a lot cheaper than you are willing to do it for, then how do you keep them as a customer in other services too? You know, hey, did you know that now we're doing holiday lights? Would you like us to do that even if we're not mowing? Or would you like
Yeah.
it to aerate or power seed or whatever? Once again, that's going to obviously, you're more maybe even winning in that situation. And
Getting
if
rid of the mowing.
does
Yeah.
happen to come back, once again, you are on the you're the first one on their mind because you have
Yeah.
continued to.
And
provide
that's
good
a
service.
really, really, really good point, Daniel. That, you know, the last thing we want to do for anybody's mow. I mean, we do it, we do a lot of it, but it's the last thing we want to do.
Right.
You know, it's the lowest profit margin item that we offer, you know, and it is. It's just, and a lot of guys, you know, probably a lot of you guys listening to me thinking, oh my God, it's great profit dollars. No, they're good profit dollars. But once you diversify and you see there's better money available, but you take a little bit on the mowing to get the other stuff. That's the reality of it. Because, you know, when you look up statistics, and, you know, I'm not an industry standard guy, because I think the industry standards are so screwed up because they are. That's the reality of that. But, you know, but when you do look at companies, and as they progress along and grow and they scale their companies, they do it through diversification.
Yeah.
Of services.
I think most businesses
Anybody
on
will
that
tell you
same model to some degree, right? Like, let's look at food for a second. Like, I bet most of the time when if you talk to somebody that has a restaurant, it's like, man, we're just, you know, we're kind of not getting by, but, you know, we're doing okay enough to through, you know, Monday through Thursday. And then, you know, that's kind of our mowing, if you will, but we got to have it. We can't just say we're closing on Monday through Thursday because we don't have good profits on those days. We keep it open. We get by, we do what we got to do. And then we have those bigger ticket items on Friday and Saturday and maybe Sunday too, or whatever, to where it's like, oh, well, people are getting apps and drinks and, you know, steaks. And now we got huge profit margins in these things. And that's what they are there really to like enjoy as the business. That's where the money comes from. But their mowing is the Monday through Thursday crowd, but they got to have it. And it's the same with, you know, any industry. I think there's always going to be like that thing that carries you through until you get to
the better stuff,
profit stuff.
Yeah. As we call it, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Till we get to, which is, you know, anything other than mowing.
Right.
You know, mowing's, I mean, and again, and I don't want to turn this into a mowing hate. It's not.
Yeah, it has its purposes.
It's got its purpose.
It's great for certain things.
It's got the greatest amount of overhead, the greatest amount of belly aching, the greatest amount of frustration.
Most competition,
It's
most
got
low
the
volume.
greatest amount of competition. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Yeah, that's Fred's. You're exactly right. He said that's the reason some of the national providers bid the mowing at close to break even just to get in, and then make it on the enhancements. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. And then to some extent, it's a little bit of robbing Peter, paying Paul kind of concept, but I mean that's what it takes.
Well, I think too, as long as you're covering your cost and getting that profit that you want to get, though, you're not really robbing as much as you are just kind of playing the long game in that sense, if you will.
Yeah.
So
You're right. No, that's exactly right. That's a much better way of saying it.
But too, when it comes to like the bigger services, what we know is that hey, they can afford to even do it for cheaper than a lot of smaller services. And they both of those services might be charging 45, but the smaller guys making maybe nothing on it to where they're 45, they might be making X%
because of use rates and buying power.
Right.
And that's a discussion. That's why smaller can't do a cheaper mentality needs to be understood. That's just it. What that generally boils down to is, and I'll throw myself into that category. When Wayne had another job working my corporate America job, and I cut yards after work, I was making good money. I always had cash in my pocket. You did. But that's because you had something that was paying your truck, paying your trailer. You wasn't counting on just that mowing money to pay for the truck, pay for the trailer.
Yeah.
And who thought about insurance, right? I mean,
you didn't have
I didn't
to
have a
worry
lick
about
of insurance
your-
other than my normal insurance on my car
Yeah.
or truck, whatever the hell it was I was driving around in. So it's a completely different game, if you will, when you're doing this to live on it and when you're doing it part time. And the separation and where the fallout is, and you guys know this, most of you, but if not, this is the learning technique. The fallout comes when, and this is what almost took us out or me out, is when you quit that full-time job and go to work full-time for yourself and realize then that shit, this ain't what it looked like it was. No, really. I mean, that's the
illusion is
gone.
The illusion of success and profit and all the things that you had before is
because I mean, it was nice. You'd mow a yard, you'd sit down and talk to your customer, have a glass of Kool-Aid, or shit. We even drank beer a lot of times. I felt like Smoking Joe. The way he posts all that stuff where he's having beer. We'd sit down and have a beer on their steps. I remember Sam and Iva Boston, one of them, are very old customers, and heck, every time I cut their yard, he'd bring a beer out when I was done, and we'd sit on a porch for about 10 minutes.
Nice.
And sit on his porch and talk and drink a beer, and then then I guess you're drinking and driving too at that point, But I mean, you're sweating it out. But we're not getting into all the alcohol side of it. But y'all know what my point is. It's just different. It's just different. So, and winter's bad. I mean, winter. Yeah, Chad's right. And that's something that you try to figure. Yeah, you ain't got that money coming in, and oh my God, I still hate winter. I love snow
until it snows.
Until it snows.
Here's the good thing about winter, I will say. I think from the outside of your brain looking in, I think you hate this time period, the time period that we're kind of starting to get out
right
of
now,
worse than a slow winter, though.
I do.
Because at least a winter, that the phone shouldn't be. I mean, even now, like that's just a cycle of the industry. But in winter, you truly know no matter what we do, you're not going to be getting many, if any, new customers in January, right? Like it's just people aren't thinking about their yards. But now it's sunny and it's grass is green. People should be calling. I think it's a weird kind of thing there where
I think you're right, Daniel. I do. I hate July and August or half of August or
yeah,
till we start doing renovations.
yeah,
As much as it's a controllable, we talked about this the other day. We talked about it on doing a video, as well. It's controllable to a certain extent. You know, how do you get and I don't know. Here, let me get some input because I got some smart people listening now that already texted me. If I was coaching around this with somebody, when you've got a consistent issue, then you can have a consistent answer. If
Right.
you got a consistent problem, then come up with a consistent answer.
yeah,
But no matter what you put on or how much you put on, it just seems like mid-July to mid-August is absolutely our worst time of the year.
yeah. It's a little mini January.
I don't want
Summer.
you guys to think, oh my God, what are we listening to this guy for? I'm just being honest. I mean, it's decent.
It's getting it's
and
get about
thanks.
viable
Yeah,
at
and
worst.
yeah,
It's not like you're just like struggling and all that, but it's a complete like 180 in a sense from where you were very shortly ago and then where you'll be very shortly from then.
and that's where a lot of companies that don't have good systems in place struggle when you're rolling through something like this consistently. Because the simple answer is just schedule more work up. Well, you can't do that because people will only wait so long.
Right.
So people, they're not going to wait 3 months in a lot of cases. And I know some of you guys are out there saying your waiting list is 9.5 freaking years, but I don't believe it. I mean, I don't believe it.
I think one of the
But-
biggest things we've done to help solve this problem is diversifying. Right?
Yeah.
Like diversifying
that's
into holiday
right.
lighting is a huge one because
Holiday
as-
lighting, landscape lighting.
yeah,
You know.
5 years from now when we have a consistently built up client base
It just
of
takes a
holiday
while to
lighting,
build that.
you have these prepays that are going to be coming in the same way they come in January. for
That'll
the
make
parade.
to help with that's right for cash flow. That's just it. But it's like anything you start new, man. It's the first 3 or 4 years
Yeah, you just got to build it
you're
up.
you're building on it. So even though you're doing it, you still don't have enough of it.
Yeah, you just have to be consistent with it. You have to
You know.
not give up on it after the first year.
But
too.
what you do have is the expense of all of it.
Yeah.
It's like the money that we're throwing at marketing and advertising to try to get that done. So when I say get it done, build that up, get those phone calls.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. That could have been almost a truth bomb for real. But Mike said, and for any of you guys got any input on this, man, love to hear it. Mike said he had this same conversation with a solo guy there in town last week. Said he's a $40 guy. Said, I like being alone because everything gets done right, but I wish I had somebody to hire to take over. Mike said, I asked him, why don't you? He replied, if I hired somebody, there'd be nothing left for me.
There you
So,
go.
there you go.
That goes back to the video that we put into the Profit Circle yesterday, the small mindset, right? Like
Yeah.
being a small business owner is awesome. And you can have a small business mindset without having a small mindset about your business.
So, yeah.
So check out that video. I think it's really helpful. Even if you know these things, it's great reinforcement.
Yeah. Just to hear it again. It's, a lot of things, we don't, I think human beings, and Katie could probably help us better with this one, but you learn something and it's in your mind, but then you stop utilizing something you learned.
Yeah.
And so it's the reiteration of maybe that kind of like us going back to hand passing out some flyers.
It's like Zig Ziglar had a
consumers.
funny quote about motivation. Somebody asked him, well, how often should I listen to, sales training or motivational sales training, whatever? And he said, should I do it every day? And he said, well, you shower every day, don't you? So there's things that you like. Sometimes you just do things every day because they make sense to do every day, even though doing it every day might seem excessive, right?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't mean you have to listen to, you know, uh, a motivational thing every day or listen to a profit circle video every day, but it just means surrounding yourself with information on a normal, maybe daily basis. And
Yeah.
that's what Turfs Up Radio is for as well, to help you do that, to keep you in the mindset of not having a small mindset.
Right. Because you can have a very small business, but still think big.
Yeah.
And
Think big and
And-
think small. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to go about it. And that's part of what the post was. There's pros to both, and you
Right.
should try to figure out the pros and implement the pros to both, because then you are different and better than when you implement the pros of a small business. That means you're different and better than the big businesses. When you implement the pros of a big business, that means you're different and better than the small businesses. So you're winning on both fronts.
Yeah, that's just it. And yeah, Mike said that's why he listens to Turfs Up.
Yeah.
You are what you eat.
Yeah, brain food.
Brain food, nutrition, whatever, real nutrition or business nutrition. I mean, that's the reality of it. And we try to keep it real here on Profit Time for sure. And we all do on Turfs Up Radio, but I just try to keep it real, just like we talked about today, our traditional slow time, and I never really thought about it, Daniel, but you're right. I probably, I'm not going to use the word hate, but certainly strongly dislike um, that mid-July to mid-August time frame. I'm looking really forward to what are we, a week away from starting a lot of kill outs,
Yeah.
So get that done, get that seed in the ground. And, here we are, 30 days from now, we'll be talking about how many yards we've already got seeded. And hey, they're starting to come in. So,
Yeah.
and along with that work comes nice margins.
Talking about football season.
Yeah, football season coming
ready for
up
it.
for you. Speaking of aeration and seeding, hey, God, we're over our time, but that's all right.
That's all right.
We're all right. So we'll stay over. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with more Profit Time on now an extended version or whatever. What do y'all call it?
Off
Something.
the rails.
Yeah.
This is more extended.
This is more
rails. We're trying
extended.
to stay on the rails today.
We're trying to stay on the rails. We're just extended. So we'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio, your industry, your station. Yes, indeedy. My goodness, I'll tell you, as we talk about renovations and getting into renovations, I want to talk a little bit about that. And Craig, you got our sympathy, buddy, on coming back after 6 inches of rain, buddy. Whether you're listening to us still or not, or humping it out on a job trying to get something done. Man, it's crazy when you get that kind of rain and then you're trying to catch up, and then people are crying because their yards aren't cut, and then they're crying because their yards are wet and you got some tracks in them. And Lordy, I feel it. I feel it loud and clear for you, buddy. I hope it all pans out, and it does. It always does. It's just something else. So, but anyways, hey, I did, for you guys that might have joined us after our very first entry and opening, we had a crew get a $50 tip this morning, and I just wanted to share that again with you guys. Thought that was really cool. It was as a mow of a front yard, but the grass was very high, probably 12 inches at least minimum, maybe higher in some areas. But yeah, she gave him a $50 tip and told him thanks, and good deal.
Yeah,
good deal for everybody. We made some money doing it. They made lunch money, and just a couple guys, two-man crew out there doing it, and so they got, I guess, match split it. Well, Trusty did, but that's but yeah, that's a good deal when they come out and give you a little tip like that. That's always fun. But I want to talk a little bit about, and this will be fun for you guys, and hopefully y'all still with Daniel and I here on Profit Time here today. But this is kind of like a how would you handle this situation kind of thing. And we just had a few things come up this week and here at the office, and would just like to get your all's opinion on it. But and we'll start with what happened today, this morning. Actually, we had a lady call up and said your applicator just made a application to my lawn, and I'm a new owner. I bought the house. I just moved in. How would you all handle that? Just curious. Somebody shoot me a text. Has it ever happened to you? 502-550-8307. It's 502-550-8307. Somebody shoot me a text. How would you handle it? Do you just say, okay, don't worry about it? Do you say, and then just cancel the account? Do you say, okay, don't worry about it? Do you try to convert the client? And Katie, I'm curious, did you try to convert her? Did you ask her? Yeah, I knew. Yeah. Or would you like to continue on with the loan applications? That's the first maneuver. That should always be your first maneuver. Sorry that happened. We didn't know. And that's exactly what Katie did. We didn't know that they had moved. But would you like to continue with the service? Hey, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. And we're not saying that to them, but ask the question and wait for an answer. Well, no, I've got kids and dogs and pets, and we just don't do lawn care. Blah. Okay, well, cool. But you might be surprised. It doesn't happen a whole lot, but you might be surprised that they some of those will change into just a new name on the route sheet. Mike says I'd bill the old owner. Mel gets forwarded. That's exactly what we're doing with it, Mike.
Definitely attempt that.
We'll certainly do it. So that's exactly what we're doing with it. Told the lady we're sorry, asked about her business, and told her what we did other than just spray lawns, and she's throwing it away, but we're forwarding the invoice to some. And it was actually, Katie was telling me, it was actually a lady that went into a nursing home potentially, and her daughter was taking care of it. So I can almost see where they'd forget about something like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, all they had to do was make a phone call too. So Seth says Mike is always right. Oh, I don't know about that. Let's don't give him that much credit, Seth. Yeah. Seth said, try to convert them. Then if not, chalk it up to a donation. Yeah, that's just it. Send an invoice anyway. Absolutely. I'm glad you guys are on the same wavelength, because, you see some of this, Daniel, you don't see it because you don't do social media, but other than ours, but you see so much on social media that says, oh, we just don't worry about it. If somebody dies, or especially when they die, and I mean, I used to be that guy too. When somebody would pass away, of saying, oh, I ain't gonna worry about it, boom. But they got an estate for a reason. I'm guaranteeing that the cable company and everybody else that they got a payment on, credit card companies aren't going to say, just don't worry about it. I mean, the reality of it is, it's the nice thing to do, but let's look at it even deeper than that. It's the easy thing to do is say, well, let's just don't worry about it. But you know what? You don't have to do that. Build the estate, for the work, Well, let's see what Mike's got to say here. I'm not afraid anymore. He said, I used to do that same thing. Yeah, me either. I mean, you get to the point where you provided the service, you deserve to get paid for it. They didn't tell you to stop. If you'd have just stopped coming, they'd be like, where the heck you at? Where you at? Where you at? So, oh my God. Where you at? Where you at? Sounds like one of those snow talks. How many times don't you hear that in snow? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? We'll save we'll save that. We'll save that for another day, another discussion. So that's one thing we had. I'm curious to hear that one. Another thing that I want to ask you, how would you handle this situation? And this is a little different, so it may have a little different response on your all's end. We should maybe run these through the profit circle. I don't know. Save them.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We had one of our existing spray customers reach out to us and had brown spots in their yard. So Jeopardy took a look at the yard. She's an applicator. So Jeopardy looked at the yard and it was grub worms for them. Okay. That weren't present when we did our last application for them for broadleaf weekend row. So the wife said, yeah, let's go ahead and get them treated before, it gets too bad. So that happened on Tuesday, I think Tuesday afternoon. By the time we got the okay to do it, we got it scheduled for service. Mike, another applicator, went out to make the application on the yard yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. And long story short, the husband catches him and asks him what he's doing. But prior to the husband catching him, evidently the wife and the husband had a conversation right before that. So he called in here to the office. Kyle answers the phone. And he's like, why is that application so expensive? Because we charge more for insecticides and fungicides because they cost us more. And, we charge more for the service. We're not doing it at the same cost of a regular app because generally they're off route. There's just more expense associated with it. So he's like, well, no, we don't want to do it. We're not going to do that, And about the same time he's on the phone with Kyle, Mike pulls up. So he hangs up with Kyle, runs out and catches Mike, tells him, no, don't make the application. What would you all do in that situation? Would you bill them for a trip charge? Would you bill them anything? Would you just say, okay, I'm sorry, on the confusion? How would you guys handle it? Let me know. 502-550-8307. We got the authority from the wife to do it. We showed up to do the work and we're told not to do it by the husband. How would y'all handle it? So let's see what we got. We got some quick answers. Yes, the wife did. That is correct, Mike. Corey said he's getting billed for something, at least a cancellation fee,
Yeah.
I do. I think we're due something. What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's at least obviously the cost that it takes to get out there and the chemical that you've already devoted to that lawn that you can't put back in the container. Assuming that that's in the process of where you are. As soon as that chemical is no longer usable, it's theirs. So you can either pay for it and not get it or pay for it and get it.
Yeah. I mean,
only thing I guess you're not paying for is the few minutes that it takes to spread it. So
yeah, I mean, what happens? And I'm this is a legitimate question because I don't know. I've never done it. What would happen if you ordered 5 pizzas from Papa John's and they got them to your door, and I said, "Well, I don't want them."
Yeah, you're definitely gonna.
I wonder if you'd have to pay
You
for
would
it
100% would pay for it, and mostly these days you're paying for it before it gets there anyway online.
because of shit like this probably happening.
Well, and because people don't have cash and it's easier and whatever, but that's probably on their end a good protection against it from happening a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, all you had, I mean, you could technically just call them, order 150 pizzas. I mean, not that they would probably fulfill that order, and then just not answer your door.
Mike sent a picture of somebody putting something in a mailbox. Send that bill. I hear that's what we're going to do something. I just haven't decided. We haven't decided. I mean, but that was just frustrating. You figure we had 2 trips out there. Jeopardy went out there to analyze the issue in the yard. Then Mike went out there to make the application. And Katie had several calls with the wife before authorization. And now Daddy decides he's going to pull his big boy pants up and tell us, sorry about your luck, Chuck. Now, this could be a situation, and I want your all's opinion on this too. They've been a customer, right, Katie? Just for the fun of it, look them up. See how long they've been a customer. I just want to. Oh, yeah. She's going to look them up. So they've been a customer for a minute anyway. Okay. So do you risk losing them as a customer? Or is your customer okay?
17, so 8 years.
So they've been a customer for 8
Or-
years.
yeah,
8
seasons.
years. 8 or 9 seasons. It came on in 2017. I think they get a pass. Personally.
Here's the problem with the pass mentality
Okay.
is that if you don't
I knew you would do that.
if you don't communicate that, hey, this is your one free pass, then the next time they do it, they didn't know that that was their pass. They just figured that was protocol. So now you've set in their mind your protocol that they can call and cancel. Right? So that's your protocol, unless you communicate with them that this is not protocol, but we're willing to do it this time.
Maybe that's the same maybe that's the thing to do. Hey, Mr. Miss Skaggs, obviously you all had a breakdown on this.
Yeah. We appreciate your loyalty for the last 8 or 9 seasons, whatever it's been. The math on years is confusing sometimes.
Yeah,
But
on years versus seasons.
And typically we would bill in this situation for the time and material that we had allocated and used, or whatever you want to call it, prepared. But since, due to your loyalty, we're willing to kind of give you a pass on this one. And then however you want to kind of close it out.
Yeah. Mike says, yeah, Daniel, that's a valid point. I'd have that conversation and tell him that as well. Corey says, okay, fine. We'll pass, but we will have a restocking fee.
There you go.
Yeah. Really, we've got, y'all gonna think I'm making a number up here listening to me, but we've got, without putting a piece of paper and a pencil to it, we've probably got $175 in cost involved. You got two trips out there, right? Katie's had multiple phone conversations, and then Kyle's conversation. Yeah, and then that too. I forgot about that end of it. Katie spent 20 minutes trying to explain to her
how to
literally
take a picture and text it in.
Yeah,
text line
of the yard, so we could try to analyze it without having to send a tech, and she couldn't do it. So yeah, so we were social media training, I guess, or some kind of iPhone technology training. Oh Lord, I know. I hear you, Mike. Mike says part of him says customers are temporary stops. LOL. That's true, man. But Maybe we do. I like Daniel's idea. I think we go to the extent we're this far in. What the hell? We go to the extent we send them a bill, but a note on the bill saying, due to your loyalty, we'll waive this charge. But that way they understand that there would have been a charge.
Yeah.
Because you're right, Daniel. That could set a precedent.
Right. And then they're confused next time when they get one. Oh, I thought last time you did this for me. I didn't realize that you were giving me a pass. I just thought it was the way you did things.
I just, yeah. Oh my God. So, all right. Well, that's our second one. Now, I've got another one that that I want to talk about a little bit. Let's see. Let me find it here. Kind of got off on a tangent here. Let's see. The client move, Mr. Skag. What was the other one, Katie? God, I didn't write it down. I know I had three. No,
you did
that was our. We did that. We did talk about that. But I don't know. Maybe to come to me again. Damn, I know I had three good. I thought, man, that's going to be a good one too. But anyways, it hadn't been too bad of a week for weird things happening. Like I said, we've had a great week here overall at WLS. We really have. But getting a lot of good things done and accomplished. And I don't know if I could be like Rip Van Winkle and fall asleep for about 10 days and then get back up, then we'd be past this time of the year that I really dislike.
There you
and
go.
go from there. But let's talk about aeration and overseeding for a minute, and then we'll wrap our show up, I guess. But I do want to talk about that for a minute. Is that it's almost that time of the year, right? I'm looking forward to starting our kill outs. I told you guys that a little bit earlier. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that in about a week. And assuming we don't get any residual rain, but from what Matt was saying with Bam, it looks like we might be on the dry side of that if things hold out the way they're talking about. You know, we'll see how that pans out. And he made it perfectly clear that was not a forecast, but the way it would look right now if he had to forecast it. But and Craig, that was bad news for you guys if you didn't hear him. Not bad news, hurricane necessarily, but just potentially more rain rolling up your way if that does kind of track that away. But anyways, just keep your eyes and ears peeled. But aeration and overseeding season's almost on us. I would really strongly suggest that you guys do participate in those services with your customers. If you only solicit your own customer base, do it. Even if you don't put a penny into marketing, you know, no flyers put out, no door hangers put out, nothing else, no sponsored ads, nothing that you got to spend money on. Just reach out to your current mowing customers or your current fert and weed customers. I feel like fert and weed companies do a much better job about reaching out about aeration and overseeding because those people are more concerned about the overall appearance of the yard. That's why they get them treated, you know. But seriously consider doing what you're doing. And then understand, though, if you decide to do it, and yes, there's still time, you do not have to buy a $10,000 piece of equipment. You can rent a aerator. You know, you can rent an aerator for a day or 2 days or whatever time frame based on the number of jobs you're doing. So don't use that for an excuse to hold yourself back. Okay. Be like Aaron Walls. Go ahead and get that hot dog cart. You know, go ahead and get that aeration equipment, rent it, and go out and sell some aeration. Oh, well, what we found, and this doesn't mean it's going to be what you find. Everybody gets different results, different things, and educated, in a different way. But what we found is our customers just need to be notified a lot of times about what we do and that we can do it for them. And they'll say yes. When a lot of times, and this goes back to small business mindset, Daniel. You know, even though you're a small business, you can have big business mindset. And let's really think big for a second and ask ourselves, how many commercials don't we see on TV for multiple car manufacturers, multiple beer distribution, multiple fill in the blank, man? You know, big companies know they need to advertise. Big companies know that they need to keep their name out in front of their customers. So even though you're a small company, put your name out there, put your services that you're providing out there, and guess what will happen? Exactly right. Exactly right. They'll do it. Corey said, or just buy a used one. Absolutely. There's always options. But a lot of times, the options that we look at are the options that just say, you know what, it'd be a whole lot easier just to say no. Let's just don't do it. Let's just do something different. Oh, okay, what's that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll do something different. Let's stop saying we'll do something different and don't figure it out. Let's go ahead and get it figured out. Let's start with aeration and overseeding. It is absolutely the easiest service you will ever provide for anybody. You really can't mess up. I mean, now let me rephrase, let me add to that with a little caveat. We do have to watch for irrigation heads. We do have to watch for underground dog fences. We do have to watch for whatever else they may have, internet lines buried. But call 811, get things marked, tell them what you're doing. You're running an aerator 4 inches deep or 5, 6 inches deep, whatever you want to tell them. Because realistically, if we pull a 3 inch plug, we've done an outstanding job. So get it marked, have them mark their heads, and there's virtually nothing you can screw up. You know, don't give up on the good stuff. Take the opportunity to get the good stuff. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Appreciate you staying with me for an extra 40 minutes. Me and Daniel certainly appreciate that. And as always, hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Be careful. Get yourself some free time. And remember, profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you Monday.